Hello. Okay, so we have, it is time to get going on your unit of study. Time to start thinking about it. I know. Are you as excited about this as I am? I can feel the energy coming through the video right now, even though you're not watching it live. Okay, so, where do you start? Well, this is why I asked you to get your pacing charts, or the standards that your teachers will be teaching in the November-ish range. So this is an example of a pacing chart. This is actually one from Clifford, Jefferson, and Amish Schroeder from the 2020 to 2021 school year. So this is not current. Don't use this one. Do not use. This is just the one that I have handy that was in my folder, so I'm pulling it up as an example. So I can see in November that the focus is in reading, text, and graphic features, which is awesome, because if I were you, I'd be saying, hey, we did a whole bunch of stuff last semester on graphic features, and I actually taught a lesson on it, so I can actually build from that. Booyah! Okay, verb tenses in words that compare, okay, for grammar. And then in writing, I have narrative and opinion writing. Division, finishing up multiplication, moving into division. And then the geography of North America and weather and climate. Okay, so as I'm just looking at these, I know that I need to know the exact language. What are the standards? So where I'm going to go is to our, I was looking this up a minute ago. I made another video, but it deleted. So I'm starting over again. Yay, technology. Okay, so we're going to go to English and the Missouri Learning Standards for everything except for science. And we're going to look through here to find our standard. When we find our standards, we're going to copy and paste, and we're going to put it into some sort of document. Now, I know you guys like charts that are pre-made and stuff, but I want you to make this your own. Can you do it the same way I do it? Yeah, no problem. Can you do it a different way if your mind takes you in a different place? That's fine too. I don't care how you do it, just that you do it. So somehow get all of your standards for each of the subjects. Now, how I did it was I went ahead and made, and when I did it the first time, I had my standards written here, and then so I had the chart flipped, but it didn't quite make sense to me, so I flipped it. So I have all the standards, and then I have each of the content areas that are taught in, if I were teaching 4th grade, or taught in my 4th grade class. And then I went in and I found the standards, I copied and I pasted them into here. I did all of them except for grammar, simply because I don't have to, so I didn't. So, but I do want you to do that. So, the ones that are here in that I made italicized, if you look at the standards, each of the, like the top portions, like this right here, whoa, I went ahead and copied and pasted those also, because it's like the overarching idea or theme or desire, and I copied and pasted those and put them up here just to help me in my brain as I am preparing to create a unit of study. Alright, so and when I did that, I noticed something which was pretty exciting. When you go to writing, it says develop and apply skills and strategies to comprehend, analyze, and evaluate nonfiction. Hey, Text features is nonfiction. Those two go together. Yes. And then an example, narrative, opinion writing. Dude, it's all starting to come together already. Yes. Okay. Math, finding whole numbers. Okay, so we're looking at division. Social studies. We're looking at our graphic features of the United States, and how people depend on and adapt to their physical environments, how they did in the past and the future, or not in the future because we don't know, but now. And then in science, we're talking about weather and graphically displaying our weather conditions and describing climates in different regions of the world. So I read that and I said, dude, regions in different parts of the world, well, what about the North America, which is what we're looking at right now in social studies? Do we have to teach these separately? I think not. Why can't we combine these? And then, as I was putting these in there, this is my favorite part of the planning process, by the way, because it's the part that gets the juices flowing, gets me thinking about what I'll be teaching, how I'll be teaching it, why I'll be teaching it. It's the creative explosions that take place. So, I was thinking, wouldn't it be cool, and I just thought this up, like just now, if we had the students, if these were the standards, study, maybe they can, each little small group of students can focus on one region of the United States. Now in reading, they're focused on their graphic features and that kind of thing. In writing, they're, what if in writing, they ended up writing, making a, what do you call it? A triptych, or they become the travel agents, and they have to make a brochure to travel to their region of the United States, and in that region, so they're giving their opinion, persuasion, there's some narrative in there, as to why you would want to travel to that part of the nation. They can talk about the weather patterns in that portion of the region and why they're there and how they work and how maybe they compare from the past to the future or to the present. So that's the social studies too. And they would be putting in graphic organizers, graphically displaying. That goes over here to their text features. So they can have captions too and some bolded stuff. And then grammar, whatever it is they're doing in grammar can be represented there as well. I'm seeing something huge happening here. Wouldn't that be cool? Or they can make a commercial and have their graphic features posted in their commercial, with like captions or, come here, whatever. Or they could try to persuade people not to go outside if they are in that part of the region because they're weather people. And then maybe you could talk to Laura Wibbenmeyer and see if she could either physically or technologically, Zoomily, come into the class to talk about how weathercasters do their stuff. And so then you're talking to a meteorologist, a scientist, about real life application of weather and weather patterns and all of that. Oh, and in the brochure, you can say for the low cost of blah, 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 a family of 5 can take this trip. But then you can divide it out by, if only 2 of the family can 5, or how much is it per person, and how much is it per day. So you can have the overall number, but then they have to divide it down into representing the smaller sums. And then you have real life division taking place too. Anyway, I went on a tangent because that's what I do. And I liked the idea. And it just keeps snowballing. And now I want to actually teach it. Anyway. I know you're most likely not going to be able to amend or deviate from what the teacher is doing in ELA because they have very prescripted texts and that kind of thing. But maybe you can get away with doing something a little bit fun if you present it to your teacher and show how you are integrating all of the standards into what it is you're doing and everything else. So anyway, just an idea. That's what I do. I have ideas. Okay, so now that you have your standards, now we're going to come up with assessment questions. Okay, so for each standard, come up with at least 2 standards. Now, you might be saying, but Dr. Hepler, our school already has these assessments that we have to give. Great! Then what you get to do is to look at those questions, decide which ones do you think best represent your standard that you're focused on. Why do you think that one is? And is it a good question or not? Should it be tweaked? Why? Okay. So you have your standards, then you have assessment questions, at least 2 for each of your standards. Okay. And then you have your reasoning. Well, hang on. I'm going to add one more row. Add a row above. We're going to have our answers too. That way we don't have to go back and find those later on, because that would be a pain in the behinder. Okay, so we have standards. We have a question, at least 2 questions per standard. The answers to those questions, and then the reason. Why did we choose those questions? Or why did we, you can even put the original question in and then how you would restructure that question and then why. Okay. Now, you're not teaching this until November, but we have to start thinking about that unit of study now. You're not giving this pre-assessment yet. Okay. We're going to build our unit of study. Then, as we get closer to November, you're going to go ahead and give it, like towards the middle to end of October, you'll give your pre-assessment, and then based on that data, you're going to go back and you're going to amend, maybe make some tweaking in the unit of study that you've created. Okay, so that's all coming in the future. Right now, I just want you to focus on making sure you have your standards in some kind of an orderly way, however it is that you choose to do that. At least 2 questions per standard, your answers, and then your reasons for choosing those. Now, one more thing. Well, actually 2 more things. I'm not putting a definitive due date on this. I do want it turned in before midterm, which I think it's in the middle of October. But the sooner you get it in, the sooner I can give feedback. And I would like to give feedback to you right away so we can make sure everything is going swimmingly. There's no last minute things that we have to do. So that just because the due date is later doesn't mean that you shouldn't be doing this. Some of you didn't start field until today, so it's not fair to make this due like Sunday. One more thing. For the science standards, I would like for you to use, where did they go? NGSS, or the National Science Standards. and I'll show you how to find that. Tell you what, I won't just tell you how to find it. I will put a link to it for you. Okay, so it's right here, and what you can do is type in your grade. I'm going to do this real fast because I want you to see how when you come into problems, how to problem solve it. The core disciplinary is weather or science is what we're focusing on. Ooh, where'd it go? Weather and climate. Boom! And I'm going to hit submit. Notice that nothing came up. Oh no! Well, that means that it must not be nationally a national standard. So, for 4th grade. Remember that just because nationally they're saying this should be done in 4th grade, doesn't mean that all states are going to adopt it for 4th grade. They may adopt it for other grades. In the grades, there's options for grades 3 through 5, grades K through 2. So I'm going to go ahead and say grades 3 through 5, and I'm going to submit. And then lo and behold, deedly-dee, check it out. Here they are. So, represent data and tables, blah, 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 blah. So here are the 2 standards. And this is a grade 3 through 5. So states can choose when this is going to be taught. The same thing is true if you look at the Missouri Learning Standards. For example, the writing one for this, using a narrative or writing opinion, is actually a 5th grade standard. But Kate Girardo chose to put that in their curriculum for, at least to begin it in their curriculum, at grade 4. So you don't have to get all hung up on the grade. It's just, that's how it goes. Away she goes. Okay, so there you go. Standards, questions, answers, reasoning. And that's it for now. We will revisit this in a few weeks.